Today we will be discussing Spawn. This will be part 1 of an ongoing series. I will not delve too far into the history of Todd McFarlane, as I feel this has been done multiple times and to great length in YouTube videos and documentaries that you can easily find. However, I will put links in the description below. I will discuss only the parts that pertain to Spawn. Todd McFarlane began drawing at an early age. He created the initial design for the character that would become Spawn at the age of 16. He would go on to attempt to play baseball professionally. After suffering from a very serious ankle injury, Todd began to shift his energy into drawing and working while he furthered his education. He continued to develop the Spawn character with help from his wife, Wanda. In 1984, McFarlane began his meteoric rise as a comic book artist. After a few years working for DC Comics, he moved to Marvel Comics. It is here that he worked on various titles, including Amazing Spider-Man and eventually his own Spider-Man title before going off to co-create Image Comics, a company that is in direct competition with Marvel and DC. It is here at Image that we see the debut of his character, Spawn. I feel it is important to note that before he published the first Spawn comic, he would do a story arc in his Spider-Man series that felt like a prelude to Spawn. It was almost as if he was already thinking about how to publish this character. In the story arc titled Masks, issues 6 and 7, McFarlane would illustrate 3 characters that, when seen on page, would have a striking resemblance to Spawn's major characteristics: the long, tattered cape of Hobgoblin, the spikes and chains of Ghost Rider. One could even say his demonic origins as well. Throw in the style of Spider-Man and we have Spawn. Spawn number 1 hit shelves in May of 1992. It was an immediate hit, selling approximately 1.7 million copies. Nothing in today's comics comes close to that. The 90s was a massive boom for comics. The top-selling issue of all time was X-Men number 1 by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee at 8.2 million copies sold. Nothing has ever come close to that record since. Spawn's story began with a shadowy figure being slowly revealed over several pages. We would soon discover that Spawn was once just a man. Not just your average Joe. He was a government operative, an assassin named Simmons. During a mission in Botswana, he was betrayed by Chapel, his friend and fellow assassin. This would be retconned later, as Chapel was created and owned by Rob Liefeld for his Youngblood series. After his death, his soul plummeted to hell. It is here that he would make a deal with Malbolgia, a name taken and adapted straight from the pages of Dante's Inferno. In Spawn, Malbolgia is a major demon lord of the 8th sphere of hell. He created an army of damned souls. The Hellspawn are his officers, boots on the ground leaders for his army of the damned. Simmons would come face to face with Malbolgia and have to make a choice. Become a Hellspawn and serve him. The deal would allow Simmons to see his wife. However, a deal with the devil always has a trick to it. Simmons would return to Earth 5 years after his death. His body still burned and his memories vague and mostly gone. Confused, he tries to adapt to his new life without any idea what he is or how it works. All of these things would be revealed over the course of the next several issues. In the second issue, we would meet a fan favorite, Violator. We first see him in his clown form talking to a cat in an alley. Soon, we discover that he can transform into a monstrous thin-limbed demon. Violator was sent to watch over Simmons and guide him on his path to become a soldier for Hell. He is to make sure Al fulfills his promise to Malbolgia at any cost. Soon, Al discovers that his wife, Wanda, has remarried to his best friend, Terry Fitzgerald. Terry and Wanda have a child together, a daughter named Cyan, a child that Simmons could never give her. In issue number 5 of Spawn, we would meet Billy Kincaid, a serial killer of children. We meet Billy as he is released from prison, apparently reformed. Clearly, he is not. Detective Burke and his partner Twitch are fed up that Kincaid keeps getting away with it. It seems as though he is being protected. After Kincaid kills another child, Spawn has had enough. Fearing that Billy's next victim could be Cyan, Wanda's child, Al loses it. Detective Burke finds Kincaid, murdered by Spawn. Justice done. Issue number 6. Enter Overt Kill, part man, mostly machine, and mercenary hired by mob enforcer Tony Twist to take out the thing that has been bothering him in the alley. The thing being Spawn. Overt Kill actually does a lot of damage to Spawn. Spawn retreats and collects some weapons from a military base. In issue 7, Spawn faces off against Overt Kill once again. This time, using the weapons that Al Simmons is familiar with, he takes him down, sends him back to Tony Twist in pieces. As an aside, the character Tony Twist got his name from a hockey player that Todd McFarlane liked. Unfortunately, Tony Twist found out about the character. He was not inclined to let him use his name, which McFarlane openly stated was based on him. There was a lawsuit and McFarlane lost. In issue number 8, written by Alan Moore, we would learn that the Hellspawn costume is actually a living entity born in Hell. His costume, known as K7 Letha, has a symbiotic relationship with its host. It is an organism that is bonded to his central nervous system. The entity is the origin of the chains, spikes, and his flowing red shroud. The costume would go through evolutionary changes throughout the series. More spikes, less spikes, tattered shroud, etc. In issue 9, we would meet a few additional characters, created by Neil Gaiman. These characters would cause issues later on for Todd McFarlane. But until then, let's discuss them. Angela is an angel, a hunter of heaven sent to take out Hellspawns, like what Al Simmons has become. She is on a mission to take out what we have come to call medieval Spawn. Then we would meet Cagliostro, a former Hellspawn who has been hiding out on Earth. By the end of issue 12, Simmons remembers that his friend Chapel murdered him. In issue 13, Spawn attacks the Youngblood headquarters in an attempt to get revenge on Chapel's betrayal. During the fight, Spawn manages to grab Chapel and they teleport to a secluded location. Now it is just Spawn versus Chapel. Chapel does not stand a chance. Spawn does not kill Chapel. Instead, he burns the image of the skull permanently onto his face, a curse that will be visible to the world. In issues 14 and 15, we see more of the medieval Spawn character. The story is told from the point of view of the Violator, who was the villain of the tale. The Violator claims that he was what people came to call a dragon. In issues 16, 17, and 18, we see the first iteration of the Anti-Spawn, a human that is imbued with heavenly powers comparable to a Hellspawn. This Anti-Spawn is comprised of Jason Wynn, Al Simmons' former boss and the man who ordered Chapel to pull the trigger. Operatives of Heaven use Wyn's body to create the anti-Spawn, a temporary agent of Heaven. It is by the end of issue 18 that Spawn has accepted that he will never be with Wanda. He must now live his own life and allow her to live her own. Although this is short-lived, as it is revealed that the lives of Wanda, Cyan, Terry Fitzgerald, and Elle Simmons are all intertwined, whether they want it to be or not. This is where my first video will end. Acceptance of his fate and looking ahead to a new beginning. Join me next time as I delve further into Spawn's rich history. Until then, get out there and read some comics. Don't forget to subscribe, like and share the video and comment below.